My name is Sean, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Apex AVIAN Infinite Negate loop for Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. This was shown to me by a subscriber named Feeble Jam, and he wanted me to give credit to a YouTube channel named Mega Gaming, so please go and support them and show your love to them. And he also gave credit to myself because this is a variant of my own Lunalight deck, but he's expanded it with the Blackwing combo in order to go and do the Apex AVIAN loop. The Apex AVIAN loop was really first talked about and discovered around April in 2019, prior to the release of Master Rule 5, or Master Rule 4.5, whatever people want to call it, and where people were trying to experiment with what could be the best deck in this format. And one of the cards that people were very hyped about was a Raidraptor card called Raidraptor Y-Strix, a League 2 monster that hadn't been introduced to the game yet. And so people started experimenting with this and found out you could do the Infinite Negate loop combo. Now, right at the time that Master Rule 5 was implemented in the TCG, we had a ban list just before then, and that ban list hit Lunalight and banned Lunalight Tiger, and this is the reason why, because it allowed you to enable a play like this. So I'm going to kind of just go in to show you what this is a combo deck, but before I show you the combo, I just want to show you the endgame board and show you what it does. So this is a pre-recorded video of him showing me, so I'm going to press play here. So watch what happens. I'm going to summon Mathematician to the field, and Mathematician is going to activate his effect to send a monster from my deck directly to the graveyard. However, he is going to respond with Apex AVIAN's effect, and Apex AVIAN's effect says once per chain, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect. You can target one misvalue card you control, return it to the hand, and negate the activation of that card, and destroy that card. To do this, he targeted the card Mist Valley Thunderbird, and Mist Valley Thunderbird's effect reads that anytime it goes from your field to your hand, it can summon itself back to the field. Why this is so really good is that this isn't a hard once per turn. You can do this as many times as you want to. You can just keep on negating, and basically you can negate every single card your opponent can activate against you. Now, the weakness of Apex AVIAN is that it is once per chain. So the way that people like to deal with Apex AVIAN is that if you bait out its negate effect and then do something afterwards, you can then kind of circumvent and it can't negate you anymore. But that's why you place some backup cards on this board, backup defensive options like Cyber Dragon Infinity and Make That Crusader Avamax are protected from being destroyed by battle. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about how this works. It is a crazy and insane combo, and in a game like Legacy of the Duelist where you have no side deck, this deck is easily tier 0, unless people are clever about what they're doing. So there are ways to beat this, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. So, but what I want to do first here is I want to show you a bit of a deck profile and show you what this deck does. Now, before I go into what all the cards do, I'm not going to be explaining every single card here, I'm afraid. This is a variant of my Lunalight deck. If you want to know how these Lunalight cards work, particularly if I just set it by type, particularly how the Lunalight monsters work and the Lunalight spells and traps and the other cards that support it, please go to the description of the video, and there will be some links where showing you gameplay and a deck profile of how Lunalight works as a combo deck. But I haven't got time to explain all of that, plus the unique version of this deck as it is, because this video will be really long otherwise. So please go and look that up if you don't know how this deck works already. What is new to the deck are the following cards. We have the two Mist Valley cards, Thunderbird and Apex AVIAN, which we already talked about. We have also Blackwing, Zephyros the Elite, which was already in the deck, but also Chris, the Crack of Dawn, and Borrow the Spear. These two are extenders that you can search out from your deck to your hand, and then summon them to the field if another Blackwing monster is on the field. Similar to this is also Raidraptor Singing Lanius. If you have an Xyz monster on your field, you can summon this from your deck to your from your hand to the field. And all of these cards are searchable by use of the card Raidraptor Forstrix, which requires 2 level 4 monsters on the field to summon it, and then you can add any of those cards to your hand, or even Zephyros if you want to do so as well. Other cards that are new here that I was in my original build is Union Carrier. You need this in order to search out Thunderbird and set up your play. And we also have, of course, Y-Strix. Y-Strix I will talk about a little bit more when we look at the combo itself and how this card works. And also Mech Crusader Avamax. I don't think I was playing that in my original build, but it is very, very good in this deck here. Other cards I wanted to mention here. We've got a couple of trap cards here too. These are the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigadine. These are cards which you can activate straight away on your turn, and they come out as a level 4 monster, so it works as an extender. And also rank up Magic Soul Shade Force. Very, very important for this combo to work, and I'll show you what this does in the video. The only thing I don't really agree with this deck build, this isn't exactly the same build that Feeble Jam showed me, but it's virtually the same. I think it's missing one card or two, but I don't really agree with the use of Veilers in this deck personally, and I don't agree with more than one Shade Brigadier, just in my opinion. I think you'd be better off running something like Monster Reborn, Upstart Goblin, and maybe some kind of card like Imperial Order, Master of Shit, or Solemn Judgment. The reason why is because only one of the few arts in this deck, or to this deck, is a card called Dark Ruler No More. I'm just going to get that up for you, Dark R. Dark Ruler No More is a very, very big count for combo decks, and it says negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. That will completely shut this deck down, because neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card activation. So the way people like to counter Dark Ruler No More if you're playing a combo deck is having at least one spell card that can counter Dark Ruler No More. For Dragon Link, that will be using the Buster Lock, so that Dragon Buster Destruction Sword stays on the field, so you can't go into your opponent still can't go into the extra deck because it's a spell and trap card. And for this deck here, it doesn't have an answer for that. So I would strongly recommend having like IO, Mask of Restrict, Solemn Judgment, or I see more people playing Kaijus than Dark Ruler No More in this game, so maybe Mask of Restrict might be a good option here, so they can't tribute your Kaiju cards. And with it just that one, it won't really break your hand, to be honest with you. Sorry, they can't tribute your boss monsters with Kaiju cards, not tribute your Kaiju cards. Otherwise, I would also recommend playing Gamma Package. Lunalights play a lot of spell starters, and it is a good way to bait out interaction like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, which is everywhere in most people's decks. And so if you play like Tenki and they go Ash, you can just negate that and then you get 2 monsters on the field. And of course Gamma is also really good going second, because it helps you to break your opponent's board, meaning it's easier to do your combo going second and go for something like Borrow Sword and then swing for game. But whatever, it's a flex spot. Feel free to modify how this is to your own personal preference. So let's go back into the video and talk about how this combo works. But first of all, there is a couple of requirements that you need to be aware of. When you're doing the combo, you must make sure by the end of it you have the following ready. You must have Apex Avian and Thunderbird either in your hand or in your deck. They cannot be in your graveyard or anywhere else. They have to be in your hand or the deck for this to work. Also, for the effect of Simorgh, Bird of Sovereignty, you must have at least 7 monster zones free on the field, including your opponent's. So you must have at least 2 on your side of the field, and then your opponent has 5 if you're going first. If you don't have that much, you can't summon Apex Avian directly from your deck. You also need to make sure that there was one more thing. I can't remember it. It'll come to me as we go along. But just keep in mind what you're working towards as we go along for the combo. So I'm going to go back to the video here, and we're going to show how this works. So let's go down here, and we're going to start right from the beginning, a little bit forward. Okay, so this is Feeble Jam is going first, and he plays Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is going to send Yellow Martin to the graveyard, and she will be able to use her effect later on. Yellow Martin's effect is going to trigger, and when she is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, she can add one Lunalight spell trap card from the deck and add it to your hand. So they've searched that Serenade Dance, and now he's normal summoning that Lunalight Emerald Bird, whose effect is when it's normal summon, you can send one Lunalight card from your hand to the graveyard to draw 1 card. So off goes Serenade Dance because it works well in the graveyard. Now he's going to play Lunalight Tiger, and Lunalight Tiger is going to activate and trigger its effect, and for all intents and purposes, this is just Monster Reborn for Lunalights, and that is going to summon back Yellow Martin from the graveyard to the field. When you start this combo, your first step or goal is to make Raidraptor Y-Strix. In order to make Raidraptor Y-Strix, you need to have 2 Dark Queen Beast monsters on the field. You can either do this by using your Blackwing monsters, by hard drawing them and summoning one, then special summoning the other, or you're going to most likely do it via Raidraptor 4-Strix. And to summon this out, you just need any 2 level 4 monsters on the field to get this going. So Raidraptor 4 Strix will hit the field. It has beefy 2000 defense, and this can go up quite high by the end. So if you have to adapt your combo on the fly, your opponent's interrupting you, this card is pretty good. But what this card does is you detach a card to add one level 4 Darkwing Beast monster from your deck and add it to your hand. Now your primary target for this is going to be Raidraptor Singing Lanius, but depending on what you open with, it could be other cards too. The reason why we go for Lanius is because Lanius can summon itself to the field if you control an Xyz monster, and now you have 2 Dark Wing Beast monsters on the field, and that is going to let us summon out Raidraptor Y-Strix. So Raidraptor Y-Strix just hitting the field here. I'm a little bit ahead of myself. Raidraptor Y-Strix is an extender in 2 ways. It can actually get out 2 cards from your deck. The first thing that will happen is when it is summoned, it will special summon 1 level 4 Darkwing Beast monster from your deck in defense position, but its effects will be negated. But that card that you summon cannot be used for a link material. This is important for your combo later on. So if you've got multiple extenders, make sure you use the card that you summon from this for an XZ summon and use something else in order to go into your Sigmorg later on in your combo. So just be aware of that. You might catch yourself if you don't keep that in mind. So now that we summoned out our Zephyros the Elite, we're now going to get 1 more level 4 to the field because we have to go into Raidraptor 4 Strix 1 more time. The reason why we want to do that is because Raidraptor 4 Strix will trigger the second effect of Y-Strix. And what that effect will be is that, anytime now, Feeble Jam, I'm going to just skip forward a bit. What this effect is that when you activate the effect of a Darkwing Beast monster on your field, you can then trigger a Y-Strix effect, and that will let you set 1 rank up magic spell directly from your deck and set it to the field. And this is important for your combo later on in order to go to Cyber Dragon Infinity. So we used 4 Strix effect, added Chris from our deck to the field, from our deck to our hand, and then rank up magic Soul Shave Force has been set to the field, and we'll be using that a little bit later on. So now we've set up this play. We are now ready to carry our combo on and summon out some more extenders. So we're going to play Lunalight Tiger again, and Lunalight Tiger is going to get a Lunalight card from the graveyard. And once you've got up 4 Strix, you can either A, go straight into your Union Carrier, or B, go into Sigmorg. We Feeble Jam's going to choose to go to Sigmorg Bird of Sovereignty first, so we're going to go for that effect first. It doesn't really matter what way around, as long as you have still got the requirement of number of zones by the end. Oh, that was the other thing that you need to make sure you have. When you end this combo, you get to, before your end phase, you must have 2 free main monster zones in order to summon out Apex Avian and be able to loop Thunderbird during your opponent's turn. So that was the other thing I forgot to mention. So Tiger's effect is activated to summon Yellow Martin, and Yellow Martin is going to then hit the field, and then we're going to use Zephyros the Elite to return the Tiger and summon Zephyros the Elite to the field. This is going to give us 2 level 4s. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I'm a little bit ahead of this. With Zephyros on the field, he then summoned out Chris to the field. And then we use Lunalight Tiger again to summon out Emerald Bird. And that is going to give us plenty of materials to carry on our combo here. So we're going to go forward a bit, and we make Union Carrier. Union Carrier hits the field, and Union Carrier can target 1 monster you control in order to equip 1 monster with either the same attribute or type as that card from your deck to your from your deck or hand to the field. So it comes onto the field as an equip spell, and that card will also get 1,000 attack points, bonus attack points. Now, IP Masquerade is being used. This is what you do if, say, you have the ability to overextend. Sometimes with this combo, you'll be able to do this in more combo and summon Cyber Dragon Infinity, but you might not have any more extenders. But if you are in a situation where your opponent hasn't tried to interrupt you, like I deliberately haven't done so here, then you might be able to overextend here. So we're using an effect of Rank Up Magic Soul Shave Force that chooses 1 Raidraptor card in your graveyard, and you have to pay half your life points to activate it, but then you get to XC summon using that card as a material 1 monster that is 2 ranks higher than the monster that you summoned. Because 4 Strix is a 4, we can then summon out Infinity, and Infinity is a 6, and Infinity will come to the board with 1 card as its material, so you have 1 card as a negate. Now, why do we bother summon Cyber Dragon Infinity? Well, the reason why is because, actually, I'm going to show you a little bit later on. That will come after this because I deliberately saved that part for you. So we have Thunderbird on the field equipped. We have 2 empty monster zones. And then Simorgh, Bird Authority is going to activate. There are 8 unused monster spell trap zones. So we can summon Apex Avian, which is level 7. And then our combo is all set up and ready. Now, take note that we have IP Masquerena and also Union Carrier on the field. That could be used a little bit later on. So we're going to go from draw phase, into standby phase, into the main phase. I have player priority, so I'm going to use a card. I'm going to play Pot of Extravagance, banish 6 cards from my deck. And then Feeble Gem is going to respond and negate it. Now, the Apex Thunderbird loop on its own isn't too broken. It can be stopped, and the way that you kind of break the loop is by trying to interrupt, trying to take advantage of the fact that Apex can only activate once per chain. So you want to kind of bait out your opponent's activations here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bait out his Cyber Dragon Infinity and also Apex Avian, because what I wanted to do is use Cosmic Cyclone on the Thunderbird to banish it so he can't loop it. And that way he would not be able to negate my effect, and then we'd be able to carry on. But he didn't fall for the bait because he's smarter than that. And so Cyber Dragon Infinity is going to negate my Cosmic Cyclone. And this is kind of why the combo works so well. Cyber Dragon Infinity is like your backup negate if your opponent has a way to kind of circumvent your Apex Avian. And IP Masquerena and Union Carriers here is for a really, really nice reason. I like this touch here. We're going to use this to summon out a copy of, I'm going to fast forward, we met that Crusadia Avramax. One way that can out this deck, other than say Kaijus and Dark Ruler No More, is just summoning a big monster and swinging over some cards. So things like Mech Knights would be really good for that. Dinosaurs can do that really good. That's why those cards are very good at going second. So you could just summon something, attack over Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then you've only got 1 negate to deal with. Well, with Crusadia Avramax on the field, summoned by IP Masquerena, you have a monster that cannot be destroyed by card effects, cannot be targeted by card effects, and if your opponent can only attack that 1 monster. Where if your opponent attacks it with a monster that was special summoned, it will increase its attack by the monster that is battling it. So Crusadia Avramax is almost virtually invincible, and is what really helps this board out and makes it so that your Infinity and your Apex Avian are well protected. And yeah, here we are back to where I showed you earlier on. The combo is going to keep on looping, and we're going to go again and again and again. And yeah, that's what this is. So my thoughts on the loop. I was aware of the loop from before. I did know the loop was in the game. I've essentially seen it being used against me, and it was something I was going to do a video on later on down the line. I kind of felt like I've done a lot of combo decks recently, so I wanted to do some different decks. But this was something I was going to talk about because people wanted me to do Lunalights again. But this was a perfect opportunity to talk about it. I think in Legacy of the Duelist, this deck is a very powerful deck. A lot of people are not going to be prepared for this deck and won't be able to out it. There are decks that can beat this, and there are cards that can beat this. Some I've already talked about in this video, but I would like to hear what you guys think about it. If you were playing against this deck, or you knew this deck was coming, what would you do to beat this deck? How would you counter it so you don't fall victim to it? Otherwise though, for those who aren't prepared for it, I think this definitely can be classified as a tier 0 deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video right to the end. A big thank you and shout out to Feeble Jam for taking the time to want to show me this combo. Really greatly appreciate that. And yeah, thank you guys as always for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.